Hello, I'm Philip Ottman, and this is an impromptu discussion of my latest novel, The Cult Teacher, written by yours truly, Philip Ottman. And The Cult Teacher is about a middle-aged Hare Krishna kind of dropout who's couldn't really make it, who goes and becomes a teacher in the public schools in New Orleans. And He has a rather interesting time there because his viewpoint is so different. He's vegetarian and he believes in sense control rather than just doing whatever you want in life. And The school has got a lot of really troubled students who have ADHD. They can't concentrate or they don't want to concentrate. They're unruly. And They go unchecked by the administration. They can just do whatever they want. And they create chaos in school, make life difficult. But there are also a lot of really good students, talented students, um, sincere students. Um, and Most of the students are from African American background, and another portion of the students are from Vietnamese background. And They're usually the brighter students or the ones who apply themselves more because of their traditions. They believe in respecting a teacher, and consequently, they do much better in school. And then there's a few Caucasian, Anglo-Saxon kind of students. And So there are some racial issues and some religious issues in the novel. And it talks about marijuana and chanting Hare Krishna and meditating on Om and learning English. You know, it's kind of a cool book. I like it. I hope you'll like it. I thought I'd read a little short chapter from the book. See if you like it. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, there's a time limit.
Oh, there's a time limit? Oh, well, I'll tell
You
you
got
what.
2 minutes so far that you recorded.
I only have 2 minutes left. Okay. So
No, you recorded 2 minutes.
I've recorded 2 minutes.
You
And
want
how
to
much
start
time
over?
do we have? No, it's all right.
20 minutes.
We got 20 minutes. Oh, this is a short chapter
Okay.
I'm going to read. Starts on page 209. I selected it purposely because it was short. And It's called Miss Sarah Allister. This is the name of this particular short chapter. And it goes like this. Sarah Allister was an attractive young English teacher down the hall from Abraham. He would pass her room coming and going, and they would often smile at each other and say hello. For a long time he didn't pay much attention to her. Then one day after school, he let himself be captured by her smile as he was leaving. Well, we've survived another one, he told her, just to converse. Some days, I think, let me do that one again. Some days, she said, I think I'm going to have to just give it up. Why, he asked, leaning on the door. You can always give them an assignment that gives you a chance to breathe. I know, she said, relaxing into the conversation. She looked at Abraham as if they had talked for hours every day. Why don't you come in and sit down, Mr. Mayer? Call me Abraham, he said. Abraham, what made you decide to be a teacher? You could have been anything you wanted to be. I like teaching, he said. I've been teaching since I was in high school. My father owned a few small tutoring schools, and I used to tutor math, Spanish, and English. When I graduated college, I became a yoga teacher and a math tutor. Then I became a substitute, and finally, I got certified to teach high school. How about you? Oh, I don't know. I just had this real idealized view of what it would be like to be a high school teacher. I had a few really good teachers when I was at school, and I wanted to be like them. It seems like more of us were serious about getting a good education and thinking about things back then. She spoke slowly. She moved slowly. She leaned forward, extending her breasts and pulling her head and her neck back while she transfixed him with her eyes. The way she looked, the way she moved, Abraham could understand that she wanted to be intimate with him, and she wanted him to be serious about her. Abraham noticed the web of magic she was spinning. She intrigued him. Another level of communication had opened. It was as though someone had turned on a radio. which only the two of them could hear. He could feel what she was feeling, and she could feel him as well. The conversation that they were having became the vehicle for a more intimate experience. You should see my house. I have bookshelves full of poetry and philosophy and spiritual things. You should come over. You'd love my library. I may take you up on that one day, he said. Oh, anytime you're in the mood. So, how are your classes treating you? It's a real challenge, Abraham said. I have 33 students in my first class, and all of them are at different levels. I have a few really bright and eager students who want to go to a good college. Then I have a group of students who only want to pass. They don't really care about the class. Then there's another group who have no motivation except to come to the class most of the time. They don't want to communicate, so there's no way to teach them to improve their communication skills. I have the same problem. She rested her chin on her thumb and two forefingers. Her eyes glowed, and she half closed them to narrow their beam upon her subject. What do you think we should do? Again, Abraham was blown away by the warmth of her projection. Well, I think the students should be separated into homogeneous groups, he said, firmly and tenderly. I could deal with the unmotivated students if I didn't have the college bound in the same room, getting bored with the ABCs of why I'm here today. I know what you mean. They mix them together because they don't want to track students, but it just hurts everyone. I like your idea. You're so sensible, Mayor. So what kind of things are you interested in? She let one shoe drop to the floor. Abraham looked at her shoe and her foot, then her leg, then her face. Sarah was a comely woman in her late 20s. Her chocolate complexion suggested her African and European ancestry. Her breasts were round and high. Her waist was thin. Her hips were wide. Her lips were painted with a shiny, creamy rouge. If she was going to put her moves on him, he thought he might as well test to see if they really could have a relationship. if he were even going to think of betraying his wife, then there had to be the promise of a relationship that could grow close to his heart. But he knew, even though he was tempted, that there was very little chance that it would actually become entangled. I love vegetarian cooking, he said, extending his lead to her. I love a thick, juicy steak, she thought. She thought they were enjoying a talk about the varieties of cuisine. But for Abraham, the romance was over. This is a terrible reading, by the way. I really can read much better than this. For Abraham, the romance was over. She had missed a clue to the depths of his heart. I used to like steak when I was young, he said. Then I started thinking about world hunger and cows, he said. Really? That's interesting. She was trying to flatter him. What's the connection? I mean, I always thought the people in India were starving because they wouldn't eat their cows. It takes 10 times more land to grow feed for beef protein than it does to just grow protein crops for human consumption, he said. I didn't know that, she said. That's very interesting.
Anything else you'd like to add?
But, well, all the chapters are different. They're all a variety of different kinds of things. Like there's chanting in it. Vande, 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 Vande. There's that kind of stuff in there, and there's discussion of Emerson's poetry and what he's all about, and you get to know the students pretty well.
But basically, to really get a grasp of what's going on in the story, you got to read the book.
Yeah, you got to read the book. And the book is available at Amazon.com for $19.95. Just look for The Cult Teacher by Philip Atman, Ahtmann. But you can get it 10% cheaper if you go to thecultteacher.com, www.thecultteacher, all one word, .com. And there it's available for 10%